Preface of the Something Different dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Larry Wilson. The Something Different dish by Marion Harris Neil. Preface. I do not pretend to claim originality for the following 100 recipes for making dishes that are different. But I guarantee that all have been tried and tested, and care has been taken to see that they are simple and practical. The illustrations and one half of the recipes appeared in the cookery columns of the Ladies' Home Journal during the last 5 years, from whence they have been gathered at the request of many readers to save reference to back issues not always within reach. The courtesy of the Ladies' Home Journal is acknowledged with sincere thanks for permission to use the pictures and recipes in book form. Marion Harris Neil. End of preface.
Section 1 of The Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Section 1. Soup Recipes. Cock-a-leekie. 1 capon or old fowl. 8 or 9 leeks. 2 quarts, 8 cups, cold water. 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley. 4 tablespoonfuls rice. Salt and white pepper to taste. Draw and truss the fowl as for boiling. Put it into a soup pot with the water. Add 1 teaspoonful of salt and the giblets carefully washed. Bring to boiling point and skim well. Then simmer for 2 hours, skimming occasionally. Take off the outside skins. Remove the roots and most of the green from the leeks and split them in halves, lengthways. Wash and rinse them well. Cut in thin slices and wash again. Drain and add them to the soup with the rice. Simmer until the fowl is tender. To serve, lift out the bird and the giblets from the soup. Remove all grease from the top and add the parsley and seasonings. The fowl may either be served whole with parsley sauce poured over it, or half of it may be cut in neat pieces, then served in the soup, and the other half reserved for croquettes or some other dish. Sometimes the soup is thickened with fine oatmeal. A few stewed prunes are sometimes served in cock-a-leekie. Frequently, an old cock is used for making this soup, which gives the recipe its name. This soup is an excellent stomachic, and is said to be capable of curing a severe cold. Mrs. Isabella Beeton states that cock-a-leekie was largely consumed at the Burns Centenary Festival at the Crystal Palace, Sydenham, 1859. Young fisherman. 3 pounds different kinds of fresh water fish, 2 carrots, 1 large tomato, 1 leek, 2 onions, bunch sweet herbs, 1 teaspoonful vinegar, 1 teaspoonful soy, 2 turnips, 1 stalk celery, salt, pepper, and paprika to taste, water. Cut the turnips and celery into small pieces. Boil until tender and drain. Wash the fish, put them into a saucepan with the sliced tomato, chopped carrots, sliced leek, herbs, and the onions sliced and fried in a little butter. Cover with cold water and let them stew until the whole is reduced to a pulp, which will be in about an hour. Strain off the liquor and let it simmer for another hour. Add the turnips and celery with the vinegar, soy, and seasonings to taste. Serve hot. Mulligatawny. 1½ pounds lean mutton, 2 ounces 4 tablespoonfuls butter or drippings, 3 pints, 6 cups cold water or stock, 2 onions, 1 sour apple, 4 tablespoonfuls chopped ham, half a small carrot, half a small turnip, 1 dessertspoonful curry powder, 1 teaspoonful curry paste, 1½ ounces, 6 tablespoonfuls flour, half pint, 1 cup of hot milk, 1 tablespoonful chutney, 1 bunch herbs, salt and pepper to taste, 1 lemon, boiled rice. Wipe the meat and cut it in small pieces. Melt the butter or drippings in a saucepan. Add to it the apple and vegetables cut in small pieces, and cook for 5 minutes over the fire. Add the curry powder, curry paste, chutney, and flour, and mix well. Then add the water or stock, meat, herbs, salt, and pepper. Stir over the fire for 5 minutes, and then simmer for 2 hours, skimming when necessary. When ready, strain through a fine sieve into a basin. Lift out the best pieces of the meat for serving in the soup, and rub as much as possible of the remainder through the sieve. Rinse out the saucepan and return the soup to it with the meat. Season carefully. Add 1 tablespoonful of lemon juice and the hot milk just before serving. Serve the soup with plain boiled rice. If liked, a lemon cut in quarters may also be handed. The addition of a little cream is a great improvement to this soup. Mulligatawny signifies pepper water. It seems to have come into fashion at the time Dr. Kitchener wrote his famous Cook's Oracle. He speaks of it as a fashionable soup and a great favorite with our East Indian friends. In a footnote he says, "The progress of inexperienced peripatetic politicians has lately been arrested by this outlandish word being pasted in the windows of our coffee houses. It has, we believe, answered the restaurateur's purpose, and often excited John Bull to walk in and taste." The more familiar name of curry soup would, perhaps, not have had sufficient of the charm of novelty to seduce him from his much-loved mock turtle. End of Section 1. Read by Elijah Fisher.
Section 2 of the Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Fish recipes. Twice laid. 2 pounds cold cooked fish. 6 hard cooked eggs. 12 filleted anchovies. 1 1/2 pints, 3 cups, thick white sauce. 1/2 pint, 1 cup grated cheese. Salt and pepper to taste. 1 pint, 2 cups mashed potatoes. Few pieces puff paste. 2 chopped onions. 2 tablespoonfuls chopped parsley. 1/2 pint, 1 cup chopped cooked ham. Butter a fireproof dish, sprinkle in the chopped onion, parsley, and ham. Flake the fish and slice the eggs. Put a layer of the sauce in the dish, sprinkle in some of the cheese, and on this arrange a layer of the fish and eggs. Then add another of the sauce, and so on until the dish is almost full. Sprinkle over the top a little salt and pepper. Cover with mashed potatoes, brush over the top with a little beaten egg, garnish with the puff pastry. Place in a baking tin and cook in a hot oven for 30 minutes. Any remains of cold fish, chicken, or meat can be utilized in the same way. Kedgeree. 3/4 pound, 1 1/2 cups cold cooked fish, 1/4 pound, 1/2 cup rice, 2 hard cooked eggs, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls butter or drippings, salt and pepper to taste, 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley. Flake the fish, taking care to remove all the skin and bones. Wash and boil the rice, then drain and dry it in the oven. Melt the butter in a saucepan, add the whites of eggs chopped, the fish and rice, and stir over the fire all together until quite hot. Take care that the mixture does not brown. Season with salt and pepper and pile in a mound on a hot dish. Decorate down the sides with the hard-cooked yolks of eggs, previously rubbed through a sieve, and the parsley. Serve hot. Kedgeree is the name given to a medley composed of fish, boiled rice, and hard-cooked eggs, but it owes its name to the Hindu word khichdi, meaning a medley or assortment, and not to the name of a place on the Hooghly River, 40 miles southwest of Calcutta, India. Wiggle. 1/2 pint, 1 cup, picked shrimps. Salt and paprika to taste. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls butter. 3/4 pint, 1 1/2 cups milk. 2 tablespoonfuls flour. 1/2 pint, 1 cup canned peas. Blend the butter and flour in a saucepan over the fire. Season with salt and paprika and pour in the milk, stirring all the time. Stir until the mixture boils. Then add the shrimps broken in pieces and the peas drained from their liquor. Serve very hot with crackers or fingers of buttered toast. Pulled fish. Boiled fish. 1/2 pint, 1 cup cream. 1 tablespoonful dry mustard. 1 tablespoonful anchovy essence, 1 1/2 tablespoonfuls mushroom ketchup, pepper to taste, 1 teaspoonful flour, 1 teaspoonful butter, toasted bread. After any solid fish is boiled, pick it in small pieces from the bones, and add to 1 pound of it the mustard, anchovy essence, ketchup, pepper, flour, butter, and cream. Heat over the fire until very hot and serve at once on toast. Aji. 1 good-sized boiled lobster. 6 ounces, 3/4 cup sweet butter. 1 tablespoonful chopped onion. 1 tablespoonful chopped peppers. 6 peeled tomatoes. 16 potatoes. 5 hard-cooked eggs. 1 pint, 2 cups, chicken stock. 1 small cream cheese. Salt to taste. Slice the tomatoes, cut each potato in 3 pieces and the eggs in quarters. Melt the butter, add the onions and peppers. Cook for 5 minutes, then add the potatoes and cook until the butter is absorbed. Pour in the stock, in which the lobster shell has been boiled. Add the tomatoes, the lobster cut in small pieces, the cream cheese and the eggs, and salt to taste. Simmer until the potatoes are cooked and serve very hot. Cod quadrilles with potato salad. 2 pounds cod, 1 beaten egg, breadcrumbs, potato salad, salt and pepper to taste. Slice the cod and dip the slices in flour. Brush the fish over with the beaten egg and dip in breadcrumbs which have been seasoned with salt and pepper. Then fry in plenty of smoking hot fat until a nice brown color. Serve cold, with potato salad arranged around the dish. A very good potato salad is made as follows. Rub a basin with a slice of onion or a cut clove of garlic, and into it put a quart of cold boiled potatoes that have been cut into small squares. Stir through the potatoes 2 tablespoonfuls of capers. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 1 teaspoonful of made mustard, 4 tablespoonfuls of vinegar, and salt and pepper to taste. Pour over the potatoes while the sauce is hot, and set away to get cold before serving with the fish. A little chopped parsley may be added if liked. End of section 2. Read by Marissa D. Six, Clearwater, Florida, November 3rd, 2024.
Section 3 of the Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Section 3. Meat Recipes. Bubble and squeak. 1 pound cold boiled salt beef, 1 boiled cabbage, 4 ounces, half a cup, butter or drippings, pepper. Cut the salt beef in thin slices and sprinkle it over with a little pepper. Melt the butter or drippings in a frying pan. When hot, put the beef into it and fry on both sides until it is a golden color. Then take up, put the pieces of meat between 2 plates and keep them hot over boiling water. Chop the cabbage, put it into the pan in which the beef was fried, and fry it for 5 minutes. Turn it out in the center of a hot dish, and arrange the slices of beef round. Serve very hot. If liked, cold mashed potatoes, shredded onions, and a little vinegar may be added. Bubble and squeak is the fanciful name applied to an old English dish of fried beef and cabbage. When midst the frying pan, in a sense savage, the beef socially quarrels with the cabbage. Dr. Kitchener set the lines to music and furnished a sauce for the dish. Even George Augusta Sala, who was both a clever cook and a conscious picture, was very fond of boiled beef when it was served a la bubble and squeak. Poor man's goose. A pound of liver, 1 slice fat bacon, 2 large sliced onions, 1½ pints, 3 cups, mashed cooked beans or potatoes, salt and pepper to taste, half a teaspoonful powdered sage, 1 pint, 2 cups gravy or stock, applesauce. Take the slice of bacon and the liver and fry them a light brown. Now fry the onions. Line a fireproof dish with most of the beans or potatoes. Add a layer of the liver and bacon, then a layer of onions. Sprinkle with the salt, pepper, and sage. Strain the gravy over the contents of the dish, then cover with a layer of the beans or potatoes and bake for 1 hour. Serve with applesauce. Poor man's goose. The name is purely ironic, is made of liver. But liver is as nourishing as goose, and if carefully cooked it tastes just as good. Carpet bag. 1 piece round steak, 20 oysters, parsley. Take a piece of round steak as large as you require and 3 inches thick. Split half through with a sharp knife. Place the oysters inside and close like a sandwich. Sew carefully together at the edges and roast until cooked. The length of time depends upon the size of the steak. Serve hot, garnished with parsley. Love in disguise. 1 calf's heart, some well-seasoned forcemeat, boiled vermicelli, brown gravy. Wash and dry a calf's heart, cover it with a layer of well-seasoned forcemeat, and steam until almost ready. Finish the cooking by baking, cover with boiled vermicelli, and serve with a rich brown gravy. Sometimes the heart is stuffed, covered with pastry, and baked in a hot oven. To make the forcemeat, put through the food chopper 1/2 pound of lean pork and 1/4 pound of lean meat. Then add 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, and paprika to taste, grated rind of 1 lemon, 1 tablespoonful of chopped parsley, 2 well-beaten eggs, and mix together. China Chilo. 2 pounds and neck of mutton, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls, butter, 2 sliced onions, 1 shredded lettuce, 1 pint, 2 cups, green peas, salt and pepper to taste, 1/2 pint, 1 cup, water, 3/4 pint, 1 1/2 cups, boiled rice. Melt the butter, add the mutton, onion, lettuce, peas, seasonings, and water. Cover the pan and simmer gently for 2 hours. Serve with the hot boiled rice. When peas are out of season, use beans. Squab pie. 3 pounds lean pork, 4 tart apples, 3 small onions, salt and pepper to taste, gravy or stock, pastry to cover. Cut the pork into neat pieces. Put a layer of the pieces in the bottom of a fireproof dish. Add 1 of the apples, peeled and chopped, then 1 of the onions, peeled and chopped, salt and pepper, and so on till the dish is full. Pour in as much stock or gravy as will fill the dish 3/4 full. Cover with pastry and bake for 2 hours in a moderate oven. Sea pie. 1 pound lean beef, 1 carrot, 1 turnip, 2 onions, 1/2 tablespoonful mushroom catsup, salt and pepper to taste, 1 pint, 2 cups warm water or stock, 1/2 pound, 2 cups flour, 1/4 pound, 1 cup chopped suet, 1 teaspoonful baking powder. Wipe and trim the meat, and cut it into small neat pieces. Prepare the vegetables, and slice them. Put a layer of the vegetables into a shallow stewpan, then the meat and the remainder of the vegetables on the top. Season well with salt and pepper. Add the catsup and the water or stock. Cover and stew slowly for 30 minutes. Mix the flour with the suet. Add the baking powder and a pinch of salt and mix well. Make this into a stiffish paste with cold water. Roll it out into a round cake the size of the stewpan, and the crust should be loosened from the sides of the saucepan occasionally, and more liquid added if necessary. Cut the pastry across into 6 pieces. Lift out the meat and vegetables and arrange them on a hot platter. Place the pastry on the top and garnish with a few pieces of the carrot. Triple Alliance. Cooked potatoes, cooked turnips, cooked meat made in 2 balls, melted butter. Reheat the turnips and potatoes in separate dishes placed in a steamer or in boiling water. Mound the turnips on a hot dish, then cover with the potatoes, mashed and forced through a bag and star tube, or made rough with a fork. Arrange balls of meat here and there about the base. At the top, make an indentation and fill it with melted butter, so that it will trickle down the crinkly sides of the potato. Triple Alliance is a combination of potatoes, turnips, and meat. Haricot. 2 pounds best end neck of mutton. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls, butter or drippings. 6 diced onions. 1 tablespoonful flour. 1 bunch herbs. Salt and pepper to taste. Half a pint, 1 cup, cooked peas or beans. 2 boiled carrots. 2 boiled turnips. 1 tablespoonful mushroom catsup. Water. Trim off some of the fat. Remove all of the unnecessary bone. Cut the mutton into rather thin chops and put them into a frying pan with the butter or drippings. Fry them a pale brown, but do not cook them enough for eating. Take up the mutton and put it in the bottom of a stew pan. Fry the onions slightly in the same fat as the mutton was browned in, but do not allow them to take any color. Sprinkle the flour over the meat, add the onions, drained, cover with cold water, and bring to the boil, occasionally skimming. Then put the herbs and simmer for 2 hours. Add the carrots and turnips cut in slices, the peas or beans, ketchup, and seasonings. Simmer for 10 minutes, then turn into a deep hot dish and serve at once. Haricot, the name given to a stew composed of chops from the best end of neck of mutton and the familiar vegetables which go by the collective name of pot herbs, is given by the most reliable authorities as derived from the old French harigot, meaning a morsel, but more fanciful etymologists attach it to hot ragout, meaning something superior by way of stewed meat. Cavalier's broil. 1 moderate-sized shoulder of mutton, salt and red pepper. 3/4 pint, 1½ cups, pickled mushrooms. Half roast or parboil the shoulder of mutton, then lift it on to a hot dish. Score on both sides down to the bone. Season well with salt and red pepper, and finish cooking it over the fire or in the oven. Skim the fat from the gravy, and keep the dish which contains it quite hot to receive the joint again. Warm the mushrooms. Chop 1/2 cup full of them and sprinkle them over the broil. When it is ready to be served, arrange the remainder round it and serve immediately. To make the pickled mushrooms, take some small and round button mushrooms, throw them into cold water, and rub each separately with a piece of flannel dipped in salt to clean it. Put them again into fresh cold water, and finally into a pan with a handful of fine salt scattered over them. Place over a moderate fire, having covered them close so that the steam may not escape, for 15 minutes, or until they are hot and the water is drawn well out of them. Drain and dry well. Keep them covered up from the air until they are cold, then place them in clean glass bottles with a blade of mace. Fill up with white wine vinegar, and add to each bottle a teaspoonful of olive oil. Cork and seal. Bombshell. 1½ pounds tender steak. ½ ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls flour. 1 teaspoonful salt. ½ teaspoonfuls pepper. 3/4 pound, 3 cups flour. ½ teaspoonful baking soda. ½ teaspoonful cream of tartar. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls butter. Milk, ½ pint, 1 cup water. Cut the steak into small pieces. Mix the 2 tablespoonfuls of flour with the salt and pepper, and roll the pieces of steak in this mixture. Sift the flour, baking soda, cream of tartar, and salt and pepper to taste into a basin. Rub in the butter and mix into a firm paste with a little milk. Cut the paste into 2 pieces, 1 large and 1 small. Roll out the larger piece and line a well-buttered mold with it. Put in the pieces of steak with the water. Roll out the smaller piece of paste and lay it on the top. Cover with a piece of buttered paper and steam steadily for 3 hours. Turn out onto a hot dish and serve. Bombshell was the name given to this meat pudding in 1820 by an old soldier. End of section 3. Read by Elijah Fisher.
Section 4 of the Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Teresa Xera. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Chicken recipes. Spread eagle. 1 chicken, salt, pepper, and made mustard to taste. 1 gill, equaling half a cup chopped cooked ham. 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley. Tomato sauce. Watercress. 2 ounces, equaling 4 tablespoonfuls butter or drippings. Singe and draw the chicken and split it down the back. Leave the wings on, but remove the breast bone. Season well inside with salt, pepper, and made mustard. Lay the bird in a well-buttered baking tin. Sprinkle with the ham and the parsley. Brush with the melted butter or drippings and cook it in a moderate oven for 25 minutes, keeping it well basted while cooking. Pour some hot tomato sauce onto a hot plate. Lay the chicken on it and garnish the top and the bottom of the dish with watercress. Serve for breakfast or luncheon. A squab may be cooked in the same way. Split a nice squab up the back. Flatten it a little with a knife and truss the wings each side of the breast. Put a skewer through to keep it flat. Grill it over a clear fire for 5 minutes, turning once. Then place it in a buttered tin, covering it with buttered breadcrumbs. Cook in a hot oven for 10 minutes. Place on a piece of toast after removing the skewer and pour over some nice thick brown gravy. Garnish with watercress. Sudden death. 1 broiling chicken, 1 ounce, equaling 2 tablespoonfuls butter, salt and pepper to taste, tomato sauce. Chop the head off a live young fowl and let it bleed. Draw the chicken and plunge it into a pan of boiling water, when the skin and feathers will come off altogether. Split the chicken into half. Broil it over a clear fire and keep turning it till done, which will be in about 20 minutes. Season with salt and pepper. Rub with the butter and serve hot with tomato sauce. Country Captains. 1/4 pound, equaling 1 cup flour. Half a teaspoon salt. 1 gill, equaling half a cup milk. 1 egg. 1 tablespoonful olive oil. 1/4 teaspoonful curry powder. Pieces cold cooked chicken. 1 tablespoonful onion juice. 3 tablespoonfuls vinegar. Cream sauce. Sieve the flour and salt into a basin. Add the milk and the egg well beaten, olive oil, and the curry powder. Beat until smooth and glossy. Put in a cool place for 1 hour. Mix the onion juice and the vinegar. Dip pieces of cold cooked chicken into the vinegar and onion juice, then into the batter and fry in smoking hot fat until they are golden color. Pour cream sauce into the bottom of a hot dish. Place the chicken on it and serve hot. Stoved how to die. 1 chicken, 6 button onions, 1 blade mace, 1 bay leaf, 4 ounces, equaling half a cup butter, 1 bunch herbs, half pint equaling 1 cup boiling water or stock. Forcemeat, gravy, 5 or 6 eggs, cooked spinach. Prepare and stuff a young, plump fowl with forcemeat. Put it into a saucepan with a close-fitting lid. Add the onions, mace, bay leaf, butter, and if liked, the herbs. When the fowl has hardened and been turned, add the boiling water or stock. Fit on the lid very closely and set the saucepan over the fire. 1 hour will do a small fowl. For heavier ones, take longer in proportion to their weight. Have a little seasoned gravy in which parboil the liver. Poach 5 or 6 eggs nicely in this gravy. Dress them on flattened balls of cooked spinach around the fowl. Rub down the liver to thicken the gravy and liquor in which the fowl was cooked, skimming nicely. Pour over dish and serve all very hot. Mushrooms, oysters, forcemeat balls, etc. may be added to enrich it, and chopped celery may be put in the sauce. Spatchcock, 1 chicken, salt and pepper, 1 small chopped onion, 1 bouquet garni, 1 shallot, 2 bay leaves, 1 sprig thyme, 4 tablespoonfuls vinegar, 1 pint equaling 2 cups brown sauce, 1 teaspoonful meat extract, 2 chopped gherkins, half tablespoonful capers, 1 teaspoonful chopped parsley. Cut the chicken in half and season the inside of the bird with salt and pepper, chopped onion, and bouquet garni, and allow to lie in a cool place for an hour. Brush the bird over with melted butter and grill it for 20 minutes, basting all the time. Sprinkling with browned breadcrumbs, cook for 10 minutes more, and serve the following sauce with it. Chop the shallot with the bay leaves and put them in a pan. Add the thyme, pepper, and vinegar. Simmer until the vinegar is reduced to half the quantity. Then mix with it the brown sauce and meat extract and boil for 10 minutes. Rub through a sieve and add the gherkins, capers, and parsley. Make very hot and use. To make the bouquet garni, tie together a piece of well-washed fresh parsley, a sprig of thyme, a sprig of marjoram, a bay leaf, a celery leaf, a small piece of cinnamon stick, a clove of garlic, a blade of mace, and a piece of green or red pepper. Pish pash. 1 tender chicken, half a pound equaling 1 cup rice, 1 tablespoonful chopped preserved ginger, 2 sliced onions, 2 bay leaves, 1 teaspoonful whole white peppers, 2 ounces equaling 4 tablespoonfuls butter, 2 tablespoonfuls chopped parsley, 1 hard-cooked egg, salt to taste, water. Singe and draw the chicken, then cut it into neat joints. Melt the butter in a saucepan. Place in the chicken. Add the rice, ginger, onions, bay leaves, whole peppers. Cover with cold water. Bring to the boil and simmer for 1 hour. Season with salt and serve hot with the parsley and the hard-cooked egg, which has been rubbed through a sieve, sprinkled over. End of section 4. Read by Teresa Cazzera.
Section 5 of the Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Pudding Recipes. Jenny Lind. 4 small sponge cakes. 4 tablespoonfuls raspberry jam. 1 lemon. 6 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1 1/2 gills, 3/4 cup water. 3 eggs. 4 tablespoonfuls chopped coconut. 3/4 pint, 1 1/2 cups whipping cream. 8 preserved cherries. Slice the sponge cakes and place them in a glass dish. Spread the raspberry jam over them. Put the grated rind and strained juice of the lemon into an enameled saucepan. Add 4 tablespoonfuls of the sugar and the water. Bring to boiling point. Beat up the yolks of the eggs in a basin. Pour the boiling mixture over them, stirring all the time. Return to the saucepan and stir over the fire until the mixture thickens. It must not boil. Beat up the whites of the eggs to a stiff froth and stir them gently into the custard. Take from the fire and, when it becomes cool, pour it over the sponge cakes. Sprinkle in the coconut, then cover with the whipped cream to which the remainder of the sugar has been added, and decorate with the preserved cherries. Jenny Lind received its name from the sweet singer of the same name. She was very fond of this dainty and delicious cake custard pudding. Spotted Dick. 3/4 pound, 3 cups flour. 5 tablespoonfuls chopped suet. 1/4 pound, 1 cup currants. 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder. 1/2 teaspoonful salt. 3 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1/2 teaspoonful grated nutmeg. 1 egg. Milk. Sieve the flour, salt, baking powder, and sugar into a basin. Add the suet, currants, nutmeg, and the egg well beaten. Make into a stiff dough with some milk. Put into a greased mold, cover with a greased paper, and steam steadily for 2 hours. Turn out, decorate with a star of whipped and sweetened cream, and serve hot with a sweet sauce. In homely circles, a boiled suet pudding with dried currants is in great favor. It is rarely honored by its formal name of currant pudding, but is familiarly called spotted dick. The reason for the name is less obvious than that applied by cabinet makers to the same pudding, which is known among them as bird's eye maple. Yet one other name, of which the pudding can scarcely be proud, is hunter's pudding, which is suggestive of the distance between currant and currant. Dog in a blanket. 1/2 pound, 2 cups flour. 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder. 1 teaspoonful salt. 1 tablespoonful powdered sugar. 1 tablespoonful lard. 1 1/2 tablespoonfuls butter. Milk. 5 tart oranges. 4 ounces 1/2 cup sugar. 1 tablespoonful melted butter. 1 pint 2 cups lemon custard. 2 tablespoonfuls chopped walnut meats. Sieve the flour, baking powder, salt, and powdered sugar into a basin. Rub the lard and butter into them and make the mixture into a rather stiff dough with some milk. Roll it into a sheet 1/2 inch in thickness. Brush with the melted butter and sprinkle the sugar over it. Then cover it with the oranges, which have been peeled, sliced thin, and seeded. Roll up into a compact roll. Tie it in a buttered floured cloth and boil for 2 hours. Drain and unwrap on a hot platter. Decorate with the chopped nuts. Serve with a lemon custard made with 1 cupful of sugar, 1 tablespoonful of flour, 2 egg yolks, the grated rinds and strained juice of 2 lemons, and 1 1/2 cupfuls of water. This is a Creole recipe over 100 years old. Huff. 1 bundle rhubarb. 1/2 lemon. 4 tablespoonfuls powdered gelatin. 6 ounces, 3/4 cup sugar. 1 1/2 gills, 3/4 cup water. Custard or whipped cream. Stew the rhubarb and sugar together until quite soft and rub through a sieve. Add the strained lemon juice and return to the fire. When hot, stir in the gelatin, which has been mixed with the cold water, and thoroughly dissolve it. Pour it into a wet mold and, when cold, turn out. Serve with custard or whipped cream. Huff is an excellent sweet for the spring and summer months. Scotch Mist. 24 macaroons. 12 ladyfingers. 1 gill, 1/2 cup, fruit juice or curacao. 1 pint, 2 cups, whipping cream. Few drops green color. Few drops red color. Few maraschino cherries. Pound the macaroons to a fine paste, crumble in the ladyfingers, add the fruit juice or curacao and 1/2 of the cream. Mix all well together and turn into a pretty dish. Whip up the remaining cream and divide it into 2 portions. Color 1 pink with a few drops of red color and the other pale green with a few drops of green color. Ornament the top with the cream, using a forcing bag and star tube. Decorate with the cherries. Flimsy. 2 pints, 4 cups milk. 4 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1/4 teaspoonful salt. 1/2 pound, 1 cup rice. 3 eggs. 6 tablespoonfuls apricot jam. 1 gill, 1/2 cup cream. 1 teaspoonful lemon extract. Put the milk into a saucepan with 1 tablespoonful of the sugar and the salt and bring to the boiling point. Mix the rice with the remainder of the sugar and cream. Add the boiling milk and cook until tender. Take from the fire, add the beaten yolks of the eggs, and pour into a buttered pudding dish, leaving it for an hour in a cool place. Spread the jam over the top. Beat up the whites of the eggs, add the extract, and spread on the top of the pudding. Sprinkle over with a little sugar and bake in a moderate oven for 5 minutes. Dr. Johnson. Slices stale bread. Stewed apples. A few tiny colored candies. Cream or custard. Cut several slices from a loaf of stale bread. Trim off the crusts. Divide the bread into pieces about 3 inches square and line a buttered pudding basin neatly with them. Have ready a saucepan of boiling, stewed, and sweetened apples with plenty of juice. Fill the bowl to within about 1/3 of the brim with the solid portion. Pour in as much juice as will come to less than 1 inch from the edge, and then arrange a round of bread exactly to fit the top of the pudding. Cover the bowl closely with a plate, set a heavy weight upon it, and leave it for several hours, when the juice will have thoroughly soaked the bread. Turn out and sprinkle over with tiny colored candies, and serve with or without cream or custard. General satisfaction. Some strawberry or raspberry preserves. 6 ladyfingers. 1/2 pint, 1 cup, milk. 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls, butter. 1 tablespoonful flour. 1 lemon. 1 egg. 3 whites of eggs. Grated nutmeg to taste. 3 tablespoonfuls sugar. Puff pastry. Line a fireproof pudding dish with the pastry. Put a layer of preserves at the bottom, then a layer of the ladyfingers, then a layer of the following mixture. Blend the butter and flour in a saucepan over the fire, add the milk and the grated rind of the lemon, stir and cook until the mixture thickens. When cold, stir in the yolk of the egg and add the nutmeg and the sugar. Bake in a moderate oven until ready. Beat up the whites of the eggs to a stiff froth. Place them on the top of the pudding, sprinkle over with sugar, and bake for 3 minutes. Snowballs. 1/2 pound, 1 cup sugar. 1/2 pint, 1 cup water. 1 quart, 4 cups cream. 1 tablespoonful vanilla extract. 1 teaspoonful lemon extract. Chopped coconut. Boil the sugar and water together for 5 minutes. Cool, add the cream and the extracts, and freeze. Mold in balls or pack in round molds. Before serving, roll these balls in the coconut. Another method. Cream 1/2 cupful of butter with 3/4 cupful of sugar. Add 1/2 cupful of milk, 2 1/2 cupfuls of flour sifted with 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, then add 1 teaspoonful of rose extract and the stiffly beaten whites of 4 eggs. Beat well and steam for 1 hour in buttered cups. When done, sprinkle with sugar and serve with sweet sauce or custard. Irish Delight. 1 pint, 2 cups milk. 6 tablespoonfuls cornstarch. 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract. 2 beaten eggs. 2 bay leaves. 4 tablespoonfuls sugar. Fine breadcrumbs. Smoking hot fat. Blend the cornstarch with a little cold milk. Infuse the bay leaves in the milk over the fire for 10 minutes. Strain, add the sugar to the milk, and dissolve over the fire. Now, add the moistened cornstarch and vanilla, and boil and stir until the mixture leaves the sides of the pan. Spread to 1 inch in thickness on a wet plate and leave until cold. Cut into pieces 2 inches in size. Brush over with the beaten eggs, dip in the breadcrumbs, then again in egg and breadcrumbs, and fry in smoking hot fat. Drain, sieve over with fine sugar, and serve for a hot sweet. Floating Island. 3 eggs. 1/2 pint, 1 cup, milk. 4 small sponge cakes. 3 tablespoonfuls shredded almonds. 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract. 4 tablespoonfuls sugar. Jam or jelly. Make a custard with the yolks of eggs, milk, vanilla extract, and 3 tablespoonfuls of the sugar. Slice the sponge cakes into a glass dish. Spread with jam or jelly and cover with the custard. Beat up the whites of eggs to a stiff froth, then beat in the remainder of the sugar. Have a pan of hot water, a plate, and a skimmer. Drop a spoonful at a time of egg white into the water, and when firm, remove. Place the little islands of egg white on the custard, sprinkle the almonds over the top, and serve cold. Hedgehog. 16 cooking apples. 1/2 pound lump sugar, 1 pint, 2 cups, water, 1/2 lemon, 3 whites of eggs, 3 tablespoonfuls granulated sugar, 12 almonds. Peel and core 6 of the apples without dividing. Then cook them in a shallow pan with the water and lump sugar, and, when tender, lift them carefully onto a dish. Have ready the remainder of the apples, peeled, cored, and sliced. Put them into the same syrup with the grated rind of the lemon, and cook gently till reduced to a pulp, stirring often to prevent burning. Cover the bottom of a dish with some of this apple marmalade. Then add a layer of the whole apples, filling up the cavities with the marmalade. Then another layer of the marmalade, and so on, forming the whole in a raised oval shape. Beat up the whites of eggs to a stiff froth, beat the sugar into them, and cover the apples with this meringue. Blanch and cut the almonds into 4 or 5 strips. Stick these strips in upright at equal distances like the spines of a hedgehog, and place the dish in a slow oven for a few minutes before serving. Ocean flowers. 1 ounce, 3 tablespoonfuls powdered gelatin. 3/4 pint, 1 1/2 cups, water. 1 1/2 pints, 3 cups, whipped cream. Few drops red color, few drops green color. 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract. Lemon jelly. 1/2 pound, 1 cup sugar. 3 tablespoonfuls red currant jam. Put the gelatin, water, jam, and sugar into a saucepan. Stir over the fire until dissolved, then strain. Add the vanilla extract, 2 cupfuls of the cream, and a few drops of red color. Allow to cool. Pour into some small, wet fish molds and place on ice for 3 hours. Line a wet mold with lemon jelly. When it is set, put in a little more jelly and set on ice. Turn out the little fish molds and place them in the jelly as if swimming, adding just a little jelly to keep them in place. Put again on ice, add more jelly to the depth of 1.5 inches, put on ice again, place in more fish and jelly, and so on until the mold is full. When firm, turn out and decorate round the base with the remaining cream-colored green with the green color. Decorate with shells and ferns. Gooseberry Fool. 1 pint gooseberries. 1/2 pint, 2 cups, boiled custard. 2 tablespoonfuls cream. 1 teaspoonful lemon juice. 1 gill, 1/2 cup, water. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls, sugar. Wash, top, and tail the gooseberries, and put them into a saucepan with the water and sugar. Stew them until they are tender and soft. Rub through a fine sieve with a wooden spoon, not a metal spoon, as it injures the flavor and color. When the custard is cold, stir it into the gooseberry puree. Add the lemon juice, the cream, and, if necessary, more sugar. Serve either in 1 large glass dish or in custard glasses, having it as cold as possible. 2 crumbled ladyfingers are a nice addition to this dish. If more convenient, the cream may be omitted, or, if wished, only cream used, and no custard. Rhubarb fool is made in exactly the same way, using 8 sticks of peeled rhubarb in place of the gooseberries. Strawberry fool is made by merely rubbing the ripe strawberries through a sieve and adding a few drops of red color. Do not cook the fruit. Gooseberry fool is at all times popular, but it is best when made with fresh fruit. The name of this dish often puzzles people. This is an example of the degeneration of a foreign kitchen term, a corruption which has destroyed the descriptive meaning. Originally, the qualifying adjective was written foulé because the stewed gooseberries were crushed before being mixed with the cream. In old French menus, the dish is given as grosse foulé. Crow's nest. Apples, 1/2 pound, 2 cups flour, 1/2 pint, 1 cup milk, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar, 2 eggs, 1/2 gill, 1/4 cup cream, 1 teaspoonful lemon extract, 1 teaspoonful baking powder. Peel, core, and slice enough apples to 1/2 fill a buttered baking dish. Sieve the flour, baking powder, and sugar into a basin. Stir in gradually the milk, cream, and lemon extract. Whisk up the eggs, mix these with the flour ingredients, and beat thoroughly for 8 minutes. Then pour the mixture over the apples until they are covered. Bake for 1 hour, and serve the pudding hot with cream, sweetened, and flavored with a little powdered nutmeg. This pudding tastes like apple dumplings, though it is more quickly and more easily made. Fairy bread. 2 slices stale bread, 1 inch thick. Milk, vanilla extract, 1 beaten egg, hot fat, sugar, preserves. Cut the bread into strips 4 inches long and 1 1/2 inches wide. Dip quickly into a little milk flavored with the vanilla and drain. Now, dip into the egg and fry in smoking hot fat to a golden color. Sprinkle with sugar and put a teaspoonful of preserves on each piece. Another method. Cut stale sponge cake in 1-inch slices. Toast a golden brown and cut in 2-inch squares. Beat to a froth 1/2 of a tumbler of quince jelly, and when very light, add gradually the stiffly beaten whites of 2 eggs. Heap this on the pieces of toast and top each half with a candied cherry. Serve with cream. End of section 5. Read by Marissa D. 6, Clearwater, Florida, November 17th, 2024.
Section 6 of the Something Different Dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Julianne Thompson. The Something Different Dish by Marion Harris Neil. Cakes, Part 1. Cakes, Maids of Honor. 1 pint or 2 cups of milk. 1 dessert spoonful rennet. 4 tablespoonfuls cleaned currants. 4 tablespoonfuls whipped cream. 2 yolks of eggs. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1 pinch powdered cinnamon. 1 pinch grated nutmeg. 1/2 teaspoonful grated lemon rind. 2 tablespoonfuls brandy. Pastry. 1 tablespoonful ground almonds. Warm the milk slightly, add the rennet to it, and let stand until a curd has formed. Put it in a coarse cloth on a sieve and drain overnight. Next day, press the curd lightly and turn it into a basin. Add to it the yolks of eggs, cream, sugar, currants, almonds, brandy, cinnamon, lemon, and nutmeg, and mix well. Line some tartlet tins with rich pastry rolled out rather thin, and fill them with the above mixture. Bake in a moderate oven for 20 minutes. Cool and sprinkle with sugar. Maids of Honor are small lemon cheesecakes. Richmond, near London, claims this particular dainty as its specialty. This is what the village gossips have to say about them. Way back in the mystic part of the 15th century, some ingenious Richmond housewife concocted a wonderful recipe for making sweetened cheesecakes, and thrifty housewife as she was, locked it in a strong box against the onslaughts of borrowing neighbors. with almost anything else you could guess. 1 of butter, 2 of sugar, 3 of flour, and 4 of eggs, or something of the sort, and produce a creditable imitation. But with maids of honor, it's different. Chemists have tried to analyze them, astrologers to cast their horoscopes, but one can do nothing of the sort. They defy detection. Indeed, you don't really taste any cheese in them at all, and they seem to appear for the prime sensible purpose only of quickly disappearing under the motto, to be eaten. One fine day, Mistress Anne Boleyn found herself heiress to this precious recipe. That was when she was at the court of Henry VIII, then on his progress through reading. In those days, kings had a way of happening around when least expected, and so when Mistress Boleyn and her honorable companion were feasting from her admirable baking, whiling away the time that the, quote, king was in his counting house, counting out the money, the queen was in her pantry eating bread and honey, end quote. With nothing else to do, the little company suddenly found bluff King Hal in their midst, roaring out, "What have we here?" Before they could answer him or hide away the feast, the Majesty of England sat him down, and as the old chronicle has it, devoured 14 good cakes without compunction, much to the sorrow of the hungry maids of honor, who found little consolation in his approbation. So good did they taste, he begged to know the name of the delicious cakes. "Your Majesty, they haven't any," Mistress Boleyn was forced to confess. "Then," cried the king, "since no name have they, I shall stand sponsor to them. Let them be called maids of honor hereafter, so sweet they are." After which pretty compliment in payment for his feast, he strolled out into his garden. Naturally, the cakes immediately became the talk of the court, and years after, the recipe found its way back to Richmond town. Tops and bottoms. 1/2 pound, 1 cup of sugar. 14 ounces, 3½ cups flour. 1/2 pint, 1 cup of milk. 4 tablespoonfuls melted butter. 1/4 teaspoonful salt. 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder. 1 beaten egg. Mix the sugar with 1 cupful of the flour and stir in the milk. Set in a warm place for 5 hours. Add the melted butter, salt, baking powder, and the remaining flour. Mold this dough into balls about the size of an egg, lay them on buttered baking tins, brush over with the beaten egg, and bake in a moderate oven until ready. When cold, divide the balls through the center, rearrange them with the cut surface upward on the baking tins, and return to the oven until they are nicely browned. When there are children in the household, nothing will please them more than an abundant supply of the English nursery biscuits that bear the strange title, Tops and Bottoms. No matters. 1½ ounces, 3 tablespoonfuls butter. 1/2 pound, 1 cup sugar. 1 teaspoonful lemon extract. 1½ pints, 3 cups sour milk. 1 teaspoonful baking soda. 1 teaspoonful baking powder. Flour. Applesauce. Cream the butter and sugar together. Add the lemon extract, milk, soda, baking powder, and enough flour to make a soft dough. Roll out and cut with a large cutter. Fry in plenty of smoking hot fat. Drain, cover each with applesauce, and place 2 together. No matters are sweet fritters filled with applesauce. Bachelor's buttons. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls butter. 3 ounces, 6 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1/2 teaspoonful rose extract. 1 well-beaten egg. 5 ounces, 1 1/4 cups flour. Cream the butter with the sugar. Then add the rose extract, the egg, and the flour. Knead on a floured baking board. Roll out and cut with a small cutter. Place on a buttered tin, sprinkle over with sugar, and bake in a moderate oven until ready. These biscuits are often served at afternoon tea. They are fine for the lunchbox. Bachelor's Buttons is the quaint name for tiny old-fashioned English cookies. Parliaments. 2 pounds, 3 cups molasses, 4 ounces, half cup butter, 2 pounds, 8 cups flour, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 2 tablespoonfuls powdered ginger, 1/4 teaspoonful salt. Put the molasses into a saucepan, bring to boiling point, then add the butter and pour the mixture upon the flour mixed with the baking powder, ginger, and salt. Work the dough well with a hand until quite smooth, and let it stand a day and a night. Then roll out very thin and cut into oblong shapes. Lay the cakes on a buttered tin and bake in a moderate oven for 10 minutes. Parliaments are a species of gingerbread, sold in small, thin, hard cakes. Parliament was consumed by Thackeray's Georgie Osborne. This delicacy is referred to in company with the lollipops in the rejected addresses. Roll, roll thy hoop, and twirl thy tops, and buy to glad thy smiling chops. Crisp parliament and lollipops, and fingers of the lady. Johnson's Spanks. 1/2 pint, 1 cup cornmeal, 1/4 pound, 1 cup flour, 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, 1 egg, 1/4 teaspoonful salt, 1/2 pint, 1 cup milk, water. Mix the cornmeal with the flour, add the baking powder, egg well beaten, salt, milk, and a very little water to make a nice batter. Beat for 2 minutes, then drop from the spoon into smoking hot fat, and fry until nicely browned. Serve at once. This is a delicious breakfast bread and is known for some unaccountable reason as Johnson's Spanks. Philby. 1/2 pint, 1 cup cold boiled rice, 1 pint, 2 cups cornmeal, 1/2 pint, 1 cup milk, 2 eggs, 2 tablespoonfuls melted butter, 1/2 teaspoonful salt. Put the rice into a basin, add the cornmeal, milk, eggs well beaten, melted butter, and salt. Beat together for 5 minutes and spread the batter, not too thick, in buttered baking tins. Bake in a moderate oven until ready. Break the bread in pieces, split, butter, and serve hot. Singing Hinnies. 1 pound, 4 cups flour, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup butter, 1/2 pint, 1 cup cleaned currants, 1/2 teaspoon salt, cream. Sieve the flour and salt into a basin, rub the butter finely into it, then add the currants and make into a soft dough with some cream. Roll out rather thin, cut out with a round cutter, and bake on a hot griddle. These cakes owe their name to the fact that they make a singing noise when being cooked. Nun's Size. 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls butter, 1/2 pint, 1 cup water, 4 ounces, 1 cup flour, pinch of salt, 1 tablespoon sugar, 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract, 4 eggs, sifted sugar, fat for frying. Put the butter into a saucepan, add the water, bring to boiling point, add quickly the flour, salt, and sugar, stir well over the fire with a wooden spoon until the mixture leaves the sides of the pan. Remove from the fire, allow it to cool but not become cold, and add the extract and the eggs, beating each one in thoroughly. Put into a forcing bag with a star tube, force into smoking hot fat, and fry to a golden brown color. Drain and serve dusted over with sifted sugar. Log of wood cake. 4 eggs, 1/2 pound, 1 cup sugar, 1 lemon, 1/2 pound, 2 cups flour, 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup butter, few drops red color, strawberry jam, marzipan icing, coffee or chocolate fondant, few blanched and chopped pistachio nuts, 2 little robins. Grate the rind of the lemon into a basin, add the eggs and sugar, and beat over a pan of boiling water. Remove from the hot water when thick and white and beat until cold. Then add the flour, baking powder, and the butter melted. Color 1/2 pink with the red color and leave the other half yellow. Bake the mixture in 2 flat buttered tins about 12 inches square. It should be an inch in thickness when baked. Let cool and then cut in long strips. Spread each strip with sieved strawberry jam and place them together, one pink and one yellow alternately, 3 or 4 in a row, and 1 row above the other until you have the same number each way. Press them all together and roll up in a piece of white paper until stuck. Form knots with round pieces of marzipan icing. Cover these knots and the ends of the cake with fondant icing and mark them with a little melted chocolate or brown color. Put some chocolate or coffee fondant icing into a bag with a tube and force it along the sides and top of the cake to represent the bark of a tree. Then sprinkle over with a few chopped pistachio nuts and decorate with 2 little robins and a pink flower and 3 green leaves made of marzipan. To make fondant icing, put 3 pounds of sugar into a saucepan, add 2 cupfuls of cold water, and stir over the fire until the sugar is dissolved. Then add 1 tablespoonful of glucose and allow it to boil until it forms a soft ball in cold water. Let the bubbles die down and pour into a basin which has been rinsed out with cold water. When you can bear your finger in the middle, begin to cream it, and when thick, put your hands in and knead and squeeze until it is a solid, firm, creamy mass. Then flavor and color it, and it is ready for use. To make marzipan icing, mix in a basin 10 ounces of fondant with 8 ounces of ground almonds. Boil 2 cupfuls of sugar with 2 cupfuls of water to soft ball. During the boiling, add a pinch of cream of tartar and 1 tablespoonful of almond extract. Then pour it quickly on to the ingredients in basin. Get someone to hold the basin firmly for you, while with a wooden spoon you stir as quickly as you can as the mass begins to harden. Turn out onto a clean baking board and knead and roll until it is smooth. Color it while it is warm. It will keep for 3 weeks. Should it be too hard, when you want to work it, add a few drops of lukewarm water and knead it, or roll it out with a rolling pin until it becomes soft and pliable. Faggots. 3/4 pound, 3 cups flour, 1/4 pound, 1/2 cup butter, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar, flavor to taste, 1 egg, milk. Rub the butter into the flour, add the sugar and a flavor to taste of whatever spice may be liked best, or of grated orange or lemon peel. If desired, no special flavoring need be used, or in preference to those mentioned, a few sweet almonds finely grated with as much of a bitter one as will give an agreeable but not too pronounced a flavor may be employed. Beat up the egg until light, and having thoroughly mixed the dry ingredients, work them to a suitable consistency with it, adding a small quantity of milk or part of another beaten egg if the dough is too dry. Turn the mass out on a sugared pastry board. Roll out to a piece about 1/2 inch thick. Divide this into strips about the thickness of 2 fingers and the length of 1, and bake in a slow oven until nice and crisp. Serve hot or cold with butter. Petticoat tails. 1/2 pound, 1 cup butter, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup sugar, 1 beaten egg, 1 tablespoonful cream, 1 pound, 4 cups flour. Cream the butter and sugar together thoroughly in a basin. Add the egg, cream, and flour very gradually. Turn out on a floured baking board, knead until smooth, and roll out into a large round. Cut out a small round from the center, then divide the remaining portion into 8 pieces. Pinch the edges, mark all over with a fork, and lay on a buttered baking tin. Bake in a moderate oven for 15 minutes. These small shortbreads of Scotland, which go by the name of petticoat tails, have a connection with a royal personage, for it is commonly believed that Mary, Queen of Scots, brought from France the recipe Petit Gâteau Télé, which name soon became corrupted to petticoat tails. End of section 6.
Section number 7 of the Something Different dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by BachTran. The Something Different dish by Marion Harris Neil. Cake Part 2. Crybabies. 1/2 pint, 1 cup strong hot coffee. 2 eggs. 1/2 pint, 1 cup molasses. 1/2 pounds, 1 cup sugar. 1/2 pound, 1 cup butter. 1 teaspoonful powdered ginger. 1 teaspoonful grated nutmeg. 2 teaspoonful baking soda. 1/2 teaspoonful salt. 1 teaspoonful vinegar. Flour. Frosting if like. Mix together the coffee, molasses, eggs, well beaten, sugar, butter, spices, soda, salt, vinegars, and enough flour to make a drop of batter. Drop with a teaspoon on a buttered baking tin and bake in a moderate oven until ready. Frost them if like. Rub robin. 1/2 pounds, 6 cups flour. 1/2 pounds, 1 cup butter or drippings. 1/2 pounds, 1 cup sugar. 1 pint, 2 cups clean currants. 1 pint, 2 cups seeded raisins. 2 tablespoonful baking powder. 1 teaspoonful powdered allspice. 2 teaspoonful powdered cinnamon. 2 teaspoonful powdered ginger. 1 teaspoonful grated nutmeg. 1/2 teaspoonful salt. 2 beaten eggs. Milk to moisten. 1/2 pounds, 2 cups potato flour. Rub the butter or dripping finely into the flours. Then add the sugar, spices, salt, fruit, and eggs. Mix well with milk to make a stiff batter. Pour into a well-buttered and floured cake tin. Bake in a moderate oven for 3 hours. Love Wells. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls butter. 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar. 1 large beaten egg. 1/2 pint, 1 cup flour. 1/2 teaspoonful baking powder. Red currant jelly. Blanch and chop pistachio nut. Cream the butter with the sugar. Add the egg. Beat well. Then add the flour and baking powder. Knead on a flour baking board and roll out 1/8 of an inch thick. Stamp out some rounds with a cutter. When the mixture has all been cut out into these rounds, take half of them and, with a smaller cutter, take out the centers so as to form rings. Wet these rings and place them on top of the plain rounds. Put them on a butter tin and bake in a moderate oven for 10 minutes. When done, take them up and let them cool. Then fill the center of each with red currant jelly. Sprinkle over with the pistachio nuts. Love Wells or Gastro de Boutillement are dainty jam tarts with a rather ambitious title, and an example of what the French lady used to call chouderie, i.e., delicacy for company. They were much in use at the end of the 17th century. Irresistible. 1 sponge cake or layers cake. 4 ounces, 1/2 cup sugar. 1 gill, 1/2 cup ground almonds. 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract. Strawberry jam. Whip and sweeten cream. 2 chopped nut meat. Make and bake a sponge cake or layer cake mixture in a flat, shallow tin. When done, turn it out on a sieve to cool. Mix the sugar and ground almonds. Make them into a stiff paste with a very little water flavors with the vanilla extract. Knead this almond paste on a board dusted with sugar and roll out carefully. Cut it out in rounds with a crinkly cutter. Then cut out the cake with the same cutter. Slide these pieces of cake into pieces 1/4 of an inch thick. Take one of these pieces, spread it over with a thin layer of strawberry jam. Place on this one of the rounds of almond paste. Then add another layer of jam and another piece of cake. Top with whipped and sweetened cream and a few chopped nut meat. Irresistible, all well named, and all favorites. Kickshaw, some rich pastry, apple jelly, 1 heaping tablespoonful butter, 1 heaping tablespoonful sugar, 1 beaten egg, pinch of salt, 1/2 teaspoonful lemon extract, 3 tablespoonful flour. Line some tarlette tins with pastry. Put 1 teaspoonful of apple jelly into each. Cream the butters and sugar together. Add the egg, salt, lemon extract, and flour. Mix and divide into the tartlet tins. Bake in a hot oven for 15 minutes. Sip a little sugar over the top and serve hot or cold. Kickshaw were made in Shakespeare time. Cornish split. 3/4 pounds, 3 cups flour, 1/2 pounds, 1 cup butter or clarified drippings, 1 teaspoonful salt, buttermilk or water, 1/2 pint, 1 cup clean currants, 1 tablespoonful sugar. Rub the butter into flour, add the sugar, salt, and currants, and moisten with sufficient buttermilk or water to work into a nice smooth paste. Roll out 1 1/2 inches thick, cut out with a cutters, and bake in a hot oven for 12 minutes. Lid with a fork. Spread with cream butters and serve very hot. Picolet, 1 pound, 4 cups flour, 1 cake compressed yeast, 1 teaspoonful sugar, 1 pint, 2 cups tepid milk, 3 well-beaten eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful salt. Put the yeast and sugar into a little basin and mix them with a wooden spoon until they are liquid. Then add the milk. Sieve the flours and salt into a large basin and stir in the milk and beaten eggs. Beat the batter for 5 minutes. Then put it into a warm place to rise for 1 1/2 hours. Drop in a large spoonful into buttered rings on a greased griddle, turning over so as to cook both sides a delicate brown. Serve them at once, spread with butter. If more convenient, they may be baked in a very hot oven. Picolet, or old-fashioned English breakfast hot cake. Siamese twins, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonful butter, 1/2 pint, 1 cup water, 1/2 pint, 1 cup flour, 1/4 teaspoonful salt, 1 teaspoonful sugar, 4 eggs, fruit glacé, star whipped and sweetened cream. Siamese twins is the name of double cream puff. Put the butter into a small saucepan. Add the water and bring it to the boiling point. Add the flour sifted with the salt and sugar. Stir well with a wooden spoon until the mixture leaves the sides of the pan. Remove from the fire and allow to cool but not become cold. Add the eggs, beating each one in thoroughly. Set away in a cool place for 1 hour. Put into a forcing bag with a tube. Force it out into 2 rounds, each about the size of a large walnut. Join the 2 together. Brush over with beaten egg and bake in a moderate oven for 30 minutes. Set aside until cold. Then glaze over with the fruit glacé. When this is set, decorate each buff with a star of whipped and sweetened cream to make the fruit glacé. Put 3/4 of a pound of confectioner sugar into a pan. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of fruit syrup, 1 tablespoonful of warm water, and a few drops of red color. Mix together. Just warm over the fire and use as one. Sally Lunds. 3/4 pounds, 3 cups flour, 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls butter, 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls sugar, 1 compressed yeast cake, 1/2 gill, 3/4 cup milk, 1/2 teaspoonful salt, 1 beaten egg. Sieve the flours and salt into a basin. Rub in the butter lightly. Stir the sugars and yeast together until liquid. Add to them the milk, which should be just tepid. Beat up the egg and add it to the milk and yeast. Make a hollow in the middle of the flour, strain in the yeast, etc. Mix to a soft but not sticky dough. Knead it lightly on a well-floured baking board. Butter well 2 plain round cake tins. Divide the dough into 2 cakes. Drop one into each tin. Cover the tops with a piece of paper. Put the tin in a warm place until the dough had risen and fill them. This will probably take 1 hour. Next, put them in a hot oven and bake for 30 minutes. When cooked, turn them out of the tins. Brush the top over with a little warm milk and butter, and leave them on a sieve until cold. Besides being excellent cut in slices, toast, butter, and serve hot, they are very good slices at ordinary bread and butter. Sally Lunds, what a bad celebrity, who, at the end of the 18th century, kept a cake shop which was favorite resort for both youth and age in the old west of England country town. Sally originally carried out her cakes morning and evening in a basket with a white cover. Later, her small shop on Lilliput Alley became a favorite haunt, and Dormers, a baker and musician, seeing that it was a very good thing, bought the business, composed a song about the cake, and set it to music. This song became a popular street ditty, and barrels were used to distribute the now celebrated cake. And up section number 7 of the Something Different dish, read by BachTran. Section number 8 of the Something Different dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by BachTran. The Something Different dish by Marion Harris Neil. Cake, Part 3. King Henry Shoestrings. 1/4 pound, 1 cup flour, 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls butters, 1/2 ounces, 3 tablespoonfuls sugar, 1/4 pint, 1/2 cup milk, 4 yolks of eggs, 3 whites of eggs, 1/4 pint, 1/2 cup ground almonds, 1 lemon. Sieve the flour into a pan, rub the butters into it, add the sugar, strain juice of the lemon, and the milk. When well mixed, stir over the fire for about 10 minutes, or till the batter comes easily from the side of the saucepan. Remove from the fire and add the yolks of the eggs and the almonds. Mix and allow to cool. Then add the stiffly beaten whites of the eggs. Spread the batter out on a buttered tin. Dredge plenty of sugar over. Bake in a moderate oven for 10 minutes. Cut it out in strips and serve hot or cold. Loaves lie by the fire, or scone make up sour milk. Cat tongues are delicious tea cakes that are great favorites in continental Europe. Picolettes are old-fashioned English breakfast hotcakes. They are raised with yeast, cooked on a greased griddle, and served hot with butter. Loaf lies by the fire. 1 pound, 4 cups flour, 1/4 teaspoonful salt, 1 teaspoonful cream of tartar, 1/2 pint, 1 cup sour milk, 1 teaspoonful baking soda. Sieve the flour, salt, and cream of tartar into a basin. Stir the baking soda into the sour milk, which will cause it to froth, and at once work the dry ingredients to a smooth dough with the effervescing liquid. Dredge the baking board thickly with flour, turn the mass on it. Knead for a moment or two to ensure perfect smoothness. Dredge a little flour over both dough and rolling pin, and roll out quickly to about 1/3 of an inch thick. Cut out with a cutter and bake on a hot griddle, turning the scone as they brown on one side. Send to the table piping hot and eat with butter. If preferred, the dough can be sweetened, again if wished. A little spice or a few crushed caraway seed may be introduced as a flavoring. The same recipe will be found to answer for buttermilk griddle, but in this case the milk employed not being sour, the cakes, of course, would not be lob. Cat's tongues. 1/2 pound, 1 cup butter, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup confectioner sugar, 2 ounces, 1/2 cup flour, 5 whites of eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful vanilla extract. Cream the butters and gradually add the sugar. Mix well for a few minutes and incorporate one by one the whites of eggs. Now add the vanilla extract and the flour. Mix well, then place in a small long heaps on a butter and flour baking tin. Bake in a cool oven until a pale brown of color. Cat's tongues are delicious cheesecake that are great favorites in Europe. Fat rascal. 1 pound, 4 cups flour, 1 teaspoonful salt, 3 tablespoonful butter, 1 egg, 1/2 pint, 1 cup warm milk, 1 yeast cake. Mix the flour with the salt, then rub the butter into it. Beat up the egg, add the milk, the yeast cake, and stir until dissolved. Make a hollow in the center of the flour, pour in the liquid, beating in the flour from the side until well mixed. Then cover with a clean cloth and leave it in a warm place to rise. When the surface of the dough is full of cracks, divide into small round cake, the shape of a tiny and very plump dough bun. Arrange these with a good spaces between on a greased tin. Cover with a cloth again and leave to rise. Bake in a moderate oven until ready and serve hot. Split open and spread with butter. Bird nest cake. Fat rascal. Bird nest cake. 4 eggs, 4 ounces, 1 cup flour, 4 ounces, 1 cup cornstarch, 4 ounces, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, some apricot jam, 8 ounces, 1 cup confectioner sugar, some chopped almonds, 4 ounces, 1/2 cup butter, few drop green color, few candy eggs. Beat up the yolk of eggs with sugar until thick, then stir in the flour, cornstarch, and baking powder. Beat up the whites of eggs and add them. Pour the mixture into a round butter and flour cake tin and bake in a moderate oven for 35 minutes. Have ready some slightly browned, coarsely chopped almonds. Remove a part of the center of the cake and replace it with a large candy egg. Spread the jam on the sides of the cake and sprinkle on the almonds. Rub the confectioner sugar through a sieve into a basin. Add the butter and beat into a smooth cream. Add the green color drop by drop until the color is right. Chill the icing, then with a small bag and plain tube force it around the edge of the cake to represent the twig of the nest. Arrange some candy eggs around the border. Gimlets: 4 ounces, 1 cup flour, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar, 3 ounces, 6 tablespoonfuls butter, 1/2 lemon, 1 egg. Mix the flour and sugar together. Rub the butter into them and add the grated lemon rind. Lay it aside in a cool place for 30 minutes. Roll out about 1/4 inch thick. Cut out with a small donut cutter. Brush over with the egg, well beaten. Lay on a butter tin and bake in a quick oven. Jersey Wonders: 3 ounces, 6 tablespoonfuls butter, 6 ounces, 1/2 cup flour, 6 ounces, 1/2 cups cornstarch, 2 ounces, 4 tablespoonfuls sugar, 1/2 teaspoonful grated nutmeg, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 2 eggs, milk or water, raspberry jam, hot fat. Rub the butter into the flour, cornstarch, and baking powder. Add the sugar, nutmeg, eggs well beaten, and sufficient milk or water to make a stiff batter. Fry in a smoking hot fat, a teaspoonful at a time. When nearly cold, make a hole in the top, fill with raspberry jam, and dust over with fine sugar. Hardtack: 1/4 pounds, 1 cup stone chopped dates, 1/4 pounds, 1 cup chopped walnut meats, 2 eggs, 1/2 pounds, 1 cup sugar, 4 ounces, 1 cup flour, pinch salt, 1/4 teaspoonful baking powder, 1/2 teaspoonful almond extract. Mix the flour, baking powder, salt, add the nuts, dates, extract, and the eggs well beaten. Put in a shallow buttered pan and bake in a moderate oven for 30 or 40 minutes. When cool, cut in short strips and roll in powdered sugar. This makes a wholesome cake, easily baked and easily served, especially nice with ice cream. Tipsy cake: 1 large sponge cake, 1 gill, 1/2 cup sherry wine, 1 gill, 1/2 cup brandy, 1/2 pints, 3 cup boiled custard, 1 gill, 1/2 cup blanched almonds. Bake a sponge cake in a fancy mold and allow it to become stale. Place the cake on a dish and pour over the sherry and brandy. As it's run round the dish, spoon it up and pour over again. Continue in this way until the liquor is all used up. Blanch the almonds, cut them in strips, and stick them all over the cake. At serving time, place the cake on a pretty dish and pour the custard round. Serve cold. Simnel cake: 3/4 pounds, 3 cups flour, 1/2 pounds, 1 cup sugar, 1/2 pounds, 1 cup butter, 4 eggs, 1 pound, 2 cups seedless raisin, 1/4 pounds, 1 cup currants, 1/4 pound, 1 cup sultana raisin, 1/4 pound candied citron peel, 1/4 pound candied orange peel, 1/4 pounds candied lemon peel, 1 gill, 1/2 cup milk, 1 teaspoonful mixed spices, 3 tablespoonful orange flower water or brandy, almond paste. Line a butter cake tin in 2 folds of thick white paper. Cream the butter and sugar thoroughly together. Add the yolk of egg and beat again. Then add spices, milk, orange flower water or brandy, flour, the white of egg stiffly beaten, chopped peel, and the fruit. Turn the mixture into a prepared cake tin. Smooth it over the top and bake in a steady oven until well risen and firm to the touch. When cold, place the almond paste on the top. Sometimes a layer of almond paste is put in the middle of this cake. When this is desired, 1/2 of the almond paste should be made before the cake is baked, and this should be made in a round the size of the cake tin, and laid in the middle of the mixture before baking. To make the almond paste, mix 1 pound of ground almonds with 1/2 pound of granulated sugar, 1/2 pound of confectioner's sugar, the strained juice of half a lemon, 1 tablespoonful of vanilla extract, 1 tablespoonful of almond extract, and enough egg to bind all together. Either yolks or whites of egg may be used. The yolks will make the paste yellower and richer, the whites drier and of a paler color. Whole eggs may be used if it's more convenient. The paste ought to be just moist enough to be bound together. Simnel cake have a legendary history. Long ago, an old couple were making the cake for Mothering Sunday, when the children would return home for the mid-Lent holiday. Why the old man meddled with the cake making nobody tell, but so determined was he that it should be boiled, and so determined was his wife that it should be baked. They came to a quarrel. Finally, they decided to split the difference by boiling it half the time and baking it the other half. The old man's name was Sim, and the old lady's Nellie, and the cake is called Simnel, in honor of both. Simnel cake today is always baked, proving that no man have any right to interfere in the affairs of the kitchen. Brambles, 1/4 pounds, 1 cup seeded raisin, 5 walnuts, 2 ounces, 1/2 cup currants, 4 ounces, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 lemon, 1 egg, grated nutmeg to taste, pastry. Chop the raisin and walnuts, mix them with the currant, sugar, nutmeg, the egg, well beaten, and the grated rind and strained juice of the lemon. Roll out the pastry and cut out some rounds the size of a small saucer. Fill 1/2 with the raisin mixture, wet the edges with water, turn the other over, and pinch the edges together. Place the bramble on a greased tin, brush over the surface with sweetened milk or beaten eggs, and bake in a moderate oven for 25 minutes. Merry Monarch, 1 pound, 4 cups flour, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup sugar, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup butter, 3 eggs, 1/4 teaspoonful salt, 1/2 pound, 2 cups currants, 2 teaspoonful baking powder, 1 teaspoonful vanilla extract. Cream the butters and sugar thoroughly together. Add the eggs one at a time, and beat well after each one. Add the extract, flour, salt, baking powder, and currants. Mix well and drop in pieces the size of a walnut on a buttered tin. Bake in a quick oven for 8 minutes. Melting moment. 6 ounces, 3/4 cups butter, 8 ounces, 2 cups cornstarch, 3 ounces, 6 tablespoonful sugar, 1 teaspoonful baking powder, 2 eggs, 1/2 teaspoonful rose extract. Cream the butters and sugar thoroughly together. Beat up the eggs and add them alternately with the cornstarch mixed with the baking powder. Then add the rose extract. Divide the mixture into butters and flour gem pan and bake in a moderate oven for 10 minutes. End of section number 8 of the Something Different dish, read by BachTran. Section number 9 of the Something Different dish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by BachTran. The Something Different dish by Marion Harris Neil. Miscellaneous Recipe. Succotash, 1 pint, 2 cups lima beans, 1 pint, 2 cups corn pulp, 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonfuls butter, 1/2 pint, 1 cup boiling milk, salt and pepper to taste. Cook the bean until tender in boiling salted water. Add the corn pulp and cook for 30 minutes. Then add the milk, butter, salt, and pepper and simmer for 5 minutes longer. Stir constantly as it burns easily. Pour the succotash into a hot serving dish and serve at once. This dish is particularly good prepared with dry or canned bean and either dry or canned corn. If dry vegetables are used, allow to soak overnight in cold water to cover. Then drain and boil. To remove the pulp from the ears of corn without the hull, cut down through the center of each row of kernels with a sharp knife. Then press out the pulp with the back of the knife, leaving the hole on the cob. For a change, add 1 1/2 cupfuls of tomato pulp or 1 chopped onion. Succotash is a dish borrowed from the Nagaran set and called by them emsiquators. Roulette. Thin slices Graham or Boston brown bread. 1 gill 1/2 cup chopped cooked chicken. 1 gill 1/2 cup chopped cooked ham. Anchovy paste. Chopped capers. 1/2 teaspoonful lemon juice. 2 hard cooked eggs. 2 tablespoonful chopped parsley. Remove the crust from the bread. Pound the chicken and ham together. Then mix them to taste with anchovy paste, chopped capers and lemon juice. Spread the slices of bread with this mixture. Roll each slice neatly. Butter the outside of each roulette lightly. Then roll 1/2 of them in chopped parsley and the other half in chopped hard-cooked white of eggs or sieve yolks of hard-cooked egg. Serve as an appetizer. Adam and Eve on a wrap. Round of bread. 2 eggs. Butter or lard. Salt and pepper to taste. Cut a large round of bread and fry it in hot butter or lard until a golden brown. Then place it on a hot platter and keep warm. Poach the eggs carefully, season to taste, and lay side by side on the bread. Rictum ditti. 1/2 pints, 1 cup grated cheese, 1 can tomatoes, 1/2 small grated onion, 1 teaspoonful salt, 2 beaten eggs, 2 tablespoonful butter, 1 green pepper, chop. Mix the tomato, cheese, onion, and the pepper. Melt the butter in a chafing dish. Add the mixture, and when heated, add the salt and the egg well beaten. Cook until the eggs are of a creamy consistency, stirring and scraping from the bottom of the pan. Serve at once with crackers or strip of buttered toast. English monkey. 1/2 pint, 1 cup milk, 1/2 pint, 1 cup stale bread crumbs, 1 gill, 1/2 cup soft mild cheese in small pieces, 3/4 ounce, 1/2 tablespoonfuls butter, 1 beaten egg, 1/2 teaspoonful salt, red pepper to taste, toasted crackers. Soak the breadcrumbs in the milk for 15 minutes. Melt the butters in a chafing dish, add the cheese, stir until melted, then add the breadcrumbs, and when hot, add the seasonings and the egg. Cook for 3 minutes and pour over toasted crackers. Robin nest salad. Dried peaches, blanched hazelnuts, seeded grapes, 1 pint, 2 cups whipping cream, 1 beaten white of egg, 1 teaspoonful almond extract. On each individual salad dish, place 1/2 of a large golden peach, cut size up. In the hollow of each peach, put 6 blanched hazelnuts and 6 seeded grapes with powdered sugar to taste. Beat up the cream, add the white of egg and almond extract. Place 2 tablespoonfuls of the cream over the fruit and serve. Golden buck, 1/2 pound cheese, 2 eggs, 1/2 ounce, 1 tablespoonful butter, 1/2 teaspoonful Worcestershire sauce, 1/2 teaspoonful lemon juice, 2 tablespoonful ale, pepper and salt to taste. Finger-shaped pieces hot buttered toast. Grate or chop the cheese finely. Put it in a saucepan with the butters and ale, and stir it over the fire until It is the consistency of cream. Then add the eggs well beaten, the Worcestershire sauce, lemon juice, salt, and pepper to taste. Stir this over the fire until the mixture thickens. Arrange the toast on a hot platter, pour the mixture over it, and serve immediately. Another method: make 4 pieces of buttered toast and keep them hot. Poach 4 eggs and trim them neatly. Put 1/2 pounds of grated or chopped cheese into a saucepan. Add 5 tablespoonfuls of ale, salt and pepper to taste. Stir over the fire until melted. Pour over the toast, placing a poached egg on each piece. Serve very hot. Sac posset: 1/2 pint, 1 cup ale, 1/2 pint, 1 cup sherry wine, 1 quart, 4 cups boiling milk or cream, 1 grated nutmeg, 1/2 pounds, 1 cup sugar, 2 yolks of eggs. Mix the ale and sherry wine and heat. Then add the milk or cream, nutmeg, and sugar. Draw the saucepan to the back of the fire and let the contents simmer for an hour. Just before serving, beat the yolk of the egg and serve very hot. This is a recipe which is credited to no less a person than Sir Walter Raleigh. Devil on horseback are probably so called because they go so fast after being tasted. Dum-dums of savory tidbit for breakfast or luncheons, made with eggs, cheese, breadcrumbs, milk, parsley, and sweetening. Bake and serve hot. Hopping John: combine bacon, dry peas, and rice in a cheap and nourishing dish. Dum-dums: eggs, salt and pepper to taste, chopped parsley, chopped chive, milk, grated cheese, breadcrumbs. Take some ramekins, butter them, and break 2 eggs into each. Season with salt, pepper, parsley, and chives. Add 4 tablespoonfuls of milk, cover with grated cheese and a few breadcrumbs, and bake until ready. Serve hot. A yard of flannels or egg flips. 1 quart, 4 cups ale, 4 yolks of eggs, 2 whites of eggs, 4 ounces, 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoonful grated nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoonful powdered ginger, 1 wineglassful brandy or rum. Put the ale in a saucepan on the fire and bring almost to boiling point. In the meantime, beat up the eggs with the sugar, nutmeg, and ginger. Then add the rum or brandy. Pour on the ale by degrees, beating the mixture up so as to prevent curling. Next, pour it backward and forward repeatedly from pitcher to pitcher, raising the hand to as great a height as possible, which process produce the smoothness and frosting essential to the good quality of the flip. This mixture is excellent for a cold and it received its name from its fleecy appearance. Pigs in clover: 1/2 pound, 2 cups flour, 1/2 teaspoonful salt, 2 teaspoonful baking powder, 1 ounce, 2 tablespoonful butter, milk or water, sausage meat. Mix the flour, baking powders, and salt, and sift twice. Rub in the butters with the tips of the fingers, and add sufficient milk or water to bring it to consistency of a soft dough. Toss on a flour baking board, roll into a thin sheet, cut it into small square pieces, and wrap each piece around a roll of sausage meat. Bake and serve very hot. These are extremely appetizing, especially as breakfast. Wet Devil: 1 pound cold cooked chicken or lamb, 1 teaspoonful currant jelly, 1/2 teaspoonful made mustard, 1 tablespoonful mushroom ketchup, 1/2 tablespoonful Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoonful tomato ketchup. Chop the chicken or lamb, mix it with the currant jelly, mustard, ketchup, and Worcestershire sauce. Heat thoroughly and serve at once. If highly seasoned food are appreciated, there is no reason why the dish known as Wet Devil should not be regarded with high favor. Prairie oyster: 1 raw yolk of egg, 1 teaspoonful Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoonful vinegar, salt and pepper to taste. Pour the vinegar into a small glass. Drop in the egg. Then add the Worcestershire sauce, salt and pepper. The prairie oyster should be swallowed whole. Toast in a hole. 1 pound sausages, 2 eggs, 1 pint 2 cup milk, 1/2 teaspoonful salt, 3 tablespoonful flour, pepper to taste. Remove the skin from the sausages and put them in a butter fireproof dish. Mix the flour, salt, and pepper. Add the eggs well beaten and the milk. Beat for 5 minutes and pour over the sausages. Bake for 30 minutes in a moderate oven. Serve hot. Another method. Blanch 3 pig's brains, trim them and cut in slices. Arrange the slices at the bottom of a pan with 2 slices of bacon cut in small pieces, 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped onion, 1 teaspoonful of chopped parsley, a chopped pickle, salt and pepper to taste, and 1 cupful of stock. Bring to boiling point. Mix 1/2 cupful of flour with 1/2 teaspoonful of baking powder. Add 1 well-beaten egg and 1 cupful of milk or water. Beat for 3 minutes and pour over the brains. Bake in a hot oven for 20 minutes. To make a vegetarian toast in a hole, peel and slice 1 pound of potatoes and 1/2 pounds of onions. Fry both together in 1/2 cupful of melted butter until nicely brown and turn them into a well-buttered fireproof dish. Season to taste with salt, pepper, paprika, and powdered sage. Sprinkle in 1/2 cupful of finely chopped nut meat. Put 2 cupfuls of flour in a basin. Add 1 and 1/2 tablespoonful of fine oatmeal, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, the yolk of 3 eggs, the white beaten to a stiff froth, and sufficient milk to make a thick batter. Pour over the vegetable and bake in a moderate oven for 1 hour. Tomatoes and mushroom may be used in the same way. Tobitos. 3 ounces, 3/4 cup cold cooked chopped chicken, 2 ounces, 1/2 cup cold cooked chopped ham, 1 gill, 1/2 cup rich white sauce, 2 chopped hard cooked egg, 1 teaspoonful chopped pickled walnut, 1 tablespoonful blanched chopped pistachio nut, salt and pepper to taste, 1 teaspoonful lemon juice, 1 gill, 1/2 cup whipping cream, parsley. Mix the chicken with the ham, eggs, white sauce, nuts, seasonings, and whipped cream. Divide the mixture into small ramekins and decorate the top with chopped parsley. Blank and prices. 1.5 peck green peas, 1.5 peck bean, 1 pound bacon, salt and pepper to taste. Shell the pea and beans and boil them separately in boiling salted water till tender. Cut the bacon into dice and fry it. Drain the peas and beans and place them in a hot vegetable dish. Then add the bacon and fat. Season to taste. Mix well together and serve very hot. Salmagundi of alternate layers of cooked hams, eggs, olives, parsley, and dressing. Hen's neck eggs are tasty for luncheons, utilizing cold chickens with hard-cooked eggs. The whites are used as garnish. Bedspread is an odd name for a savory that may be made in a chafing dish. It is easily and quickly made, then spread over anchovy toast and serve hot. Salmagundi. 1 pint 2 cups chopped cooked veal, ham or chicken. 4 hard-cooked eggs. 1/2 pint 1 cup chopped olives or pickles. Few sprigs parsley. 1 lemon. 1/2 pint 1 cup olive oil. 1 teaspoonful salt, 1 teaspoonful dry mustard. Divide the yolk from the whites of eggs and rub them through a sieve. Put a layer of the meat on a platter, then a layer of whites of eggs, then a layer of the olives, a layer of the yolk of eggs, another layer of meat, and the parsley on the top. Beating up the olive oil with the strained juice of the lemon. Season with the salt and mustard and serve with the salmagundi. Salmagundi probably never appeared on a modern menu, although it could describe a dish of engaging quality. What is Salmagundi? The dictionary said it was originally a dish consisting of chopped cooked meat, eggs, anchovy, onion, oil, etc. And in the second definition, it is set forth that the dish may be a mixture of various ingredients, an olio or a medley, a hodgepodge, a miscellany. Etymologists derive the word from the Italian salami, meaning salt meat, and crudity, derived from the Latin cruditus, meaning season. It is generally conceded that the dish has an Italian origin, and that is not surprising, for Italy may be regarded as the cradle of good cookery. France soon followed the lead of Italy in culinary matters, and in spite of the conservatism of English cooks, many innovations were made in their cookery. Thus, Salmagundi was one of the dishes adopted from France. It seemed to be composed of ingredients which have no gastronomic affinity, and yet the dish, when evolved by inspiration, so to speak, is worth the approval of our best diners. The dish gives large scope of inventiveness. Minced chicken, veal, or other insipid meat may form the foundations, while the seasoning or garnishing may be without number. In Smollett Roderick Random, we read, "The descendant of Caractacus returned, and ordering the boy to bring a piece of salt beef from the brine, cut up a slice and mix it with an equal quantity of onions, which, seasoning with a moderate proportions of pepper and salt, he brought into a consistent with oil and vinegar. Then, tasting the dish, assured us it was the best Salmagundi that he had ever made." One of Washington Irving's books go by the name of Salmagundi. The name is appropriate, for the subjects contained therein are as varied as were the ingredients which formed this once popular dish. A Salmagundi, this mode of spelling the word is the consensus of the majority of the cookery book writers, was a hodgepodge of cold viand, such as chicken, veal, hard-cooked eggs, herring, parsley, beet, pickled cabbage, etc., arranged in appetizing order. According to the old books, there was no limit fixed to the numbers of good things which might enter into the composition of Salmagundi, and certainly there was no limit to the variations of its orthography. Some etymologists trace it to Salmagundi, a lady in waiting on Mary Queen of Scots, who possesses an old-fashioned appetite for the dish, and who perhaps invented it. Others to Mary's habit of asking her attendants Gundy to pass the salt when she partook of the dish, and desire Salmagundi. Thus, two methods of spelling are possible according to the etymological theory accepted. But Salmagundi, Solomon-Gondin, and Solomon-Grundin are but a few of other varieties which may be met with. Hen nest eggs, 6 hard-cooked eggs, 4 tablespoonfuls chopped cooked chicken, 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley, 2 tablespoonfuls melted butter, salt and pepper to taste, brown sauce. Cool the eggs, separate the whites from the yolk, set the latter aside and cut the former into long, thin strips. Mix the chicken with the yolk of the egg. Add the butter, parsley, and seasoning. Shape into the form of eggs. Put these into the center of a hot platter. Arrange the white around them and serve with a brown sauce. Hen nest eggs are tasty for luncheons, utilizing cold-cooked chicken with hard-cooked eggs. The white are used as garnish. Bedspread, 6 eggs, 12 large oysters, 2 slices toasted butter bread, paprika to taste, 4 teaspoonfuls anchovy paste, 1½ ounces, 2 1/2 tablespoonful butter. Melt the butter, add 1 teaspoonful of the anchovy paste and the eggs lightly beaten. Stir and scramble the eggs. and add the oyster cut in small pieces. Mix until the latter had been cooked. Then pour over the toasted bread which had been spread with the remainder of the anchovy paste. Dust with paprika and serve very hot. Angel on horseback. 6 oyster, 6 rounds of toasted bread, 6 slices fat bacon, salt and pepper to taste. The oyster should be good large one. Cut the fat part of the bacon very thinly and about 1 inch in breadth. Wrap this around each oyster and fasten it with a little wooden skewer. Put the oyster in the oven to crisp the bacon. Place them on the rounds of toast. Season with salt and pepper to taste. Decorate with parsley. Serve at once. Hopping John. 1 pound breakfast bacon. 1 pint, 2 cups red or cow pea. 1 pint, 2 cups rice. Salt and pepper to taste. Water. Wash the peas and soak them in water overnight. When ready to place on fire, pour over them a quart of water and boil until half done. Then add the bacon after washing it. Should the water boil away, add a little warm water. Wash the rice, add water, and allow to boil for 20 minutes. Then pour off the water, leaving 1/2 cupful. Remove the cover partly, allowing it to steam until the grains separate. Take a little of the thick sauce from the pea, add to the rice with salt and pepper to taste, and skim. In serving, put the rice and peas first in the dish, and place the bacon on top. The bacon may be sliced and served in a small dish if preferred. Hopping John combine bacon, dried peas, and rice in a cheap and nourishing dish. Devils on horseback. 12 slices bacon, 12 soaked prunes, 12 almonds, salt, pepper, and paprika, toasted bread or fried crouton. Cut thin slices of bacon, flatten and trim each neatly. Stone the prune. Insert in each of the place of the stone a blanched almond previously tossed in hot butters and highly seasoned with paprika, salt, and pepper. Next, roll each prune in a slice of bacon, skewer, and grill over a bright fire for 8 minutes, turning frequently. Serve the roll on silver skewer on neatly cut strip of toasted bread or fried croutons. Devil on horseback are probably so called because they go so fast after being tasted. Old man milk. 6 eggs, 1 quart, 4 cup new milk or cream, 1/2 pint, 1 cup brandy, 1 lemon, 6 ounces, 3/4 cup sugar. Beat up the yolk of egg, then beat in the sugar and add the milk or cream. Now add the brandy and the grated rind of the lemon. Beat up the white of egg to a stiff froth. Fold them into the mixture, mix well together, and serve half frozen. Ox eye. Stale bread, milk, salt and pepper to taste, butter, eggs. Cut some stale bread 3/4 of an inch thick, stamp into rounds, and out of the middle of each round take a smaller round. Soak the round in a little milk, and then fry them a golden brown color. Break an egg into the middle of each ring, sprinkle with salt and pepper, and dot with small pieces of butter. Bake until the whites are set, and serve hot. Another method. Butter hot toasted bread, cut into neat rounds. Place a layer of cottage cheese on the top, adding cream to it so that it will be moist. Press a small cooked beet in the center of each piece. Serve cold. And up to something different dish by Marion Harris Neil.